will be better next time I try. And even if I still can't do it, yeah, you know that I'm gonna stick to it. Yes, it's all about going through it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Whoopsie, whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see, I'm better at this today. Woo! Whoopsies, 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 whoopsies.
I'm a little embarrassed when I look at my drawing compared to this. I'm just not getting anywhere with this. It makes me wanna hide. Aw, don't be embarrassed. Don't hide.
You should have seen mine the first time I tried. It took a lot of whoopsies to look this way.
No one's perfect on their first day. Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay.
It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsie, 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 whoopsie.
Well, what about this? I want to jump rope, but nope, I just can't do it.
Well, not yet. Come on and practice with me. You'll see there's nothing to it.
Whoa! Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see, I'm better at this today. Woo!
It was only a dream, the waves of evil crashing over us. It was only a weak and faithful scream beneath the battlements. I know it's hard, but for long, before it's too long. Wake up, my love, please don't give up on me. It's hard. Wake up. It was only a dream, the waves of evil crashing over us. It was only a weak and faithful scream beneath the battlements. But I know it's hard, before long, before it's too dark. Wake up, my love, please don't give up on me.
What is up? What is up, you guys? We are back at it again. Another epic day here in 100 days of Rootkit. My God, my God. I hope y'all are hyped. Y'all are excited. Y'all are becoming devs. Alright? It's happening. You guys are making programs. You're going at it. You're struggling. Alright? That's all about the developer life. Alright? Especially the struggle bus, all right? That's how you know you're really in it. Don't be discouraged by it, all right? Don't be discouraged by it. Let me make sure the music's good. Don't be discouraged by it. It's normal, all right? It's normal. That's what it is. It's all about problem solving, but it's that dopamine rush after that you get solving that problem. You're like, oh, hell yeah. That's what it's all about, all right? We're just dopamine addicts here. We're just trying to get that next snort of dopamine. Oh my God. Programming life. Gotta become a drug addict. Alright. I hope you guys are hyped. We got some more fun here to do today. Before we get into that, let's go through our typical beginning. We are Rootkit nonprofit based here in the US of A. Yes, nonprofit, fully registered. Donate to us. Avoid taxes. Alright. Avoid that evil government. Hey, right here, we're the tax haven. Just give us that money, all right? Just give us that money. You can avoid your taxes. We do a lot of things for free, like our stream right here, all right? Our stream right here. We're not industry best for no reason, all right? Our education is the best you can possibly get, all right? Best you can possibly get. It's better than college, which is going to charge you $100K here in the States, all right? Not worth it. It's better than any boot camp you're going to go to. They're going to teach you literally a fraction. Go do your own research. Go look at how much they're going to charge you, and most of them outline what they're going to teach you. All right, and then compare what we've taught you so far. Or if you're just joining now, look at what we have in our cert. It's not even close, baby. Not even close. We're not even playing in the same ballpark as everyone else. On top of all this free stuff we're doing, we have our giveaway. Week 7 is up and ready. All right, mystery gift. Make sure you go there and claim your gift. All right. Well, enter to try to claim one, the gift that's going to be revealed. What it is, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Hint. It's gonna be one of the merch stuff we've already given away. All right. We didn't order new merch. All right. That's expensive. Well, it's not like super expensive, but it's pretty expensive, and we have more important things we want to spend our money on right now, because you know, budget's kind of thin right now. How thin is it? Well, look, hey, we need some more money here for operation costs. All right, it's very expensive doing things for free, so make sure you go donate. All donations are being matched 1-for-1 for the first 10,000 donations. All right, first 10,000 donations. So go in here and donate today. It's all tax deductible. Avoid those taxes. Don't give the government a single dime more. Now, depending on how much you donate, you can get our stickers, this epic collab t-shirt I got on right now, and our awesome sweater. All right, awesome sweater. It is very warm in here, so I ain't wearing a sweater. I ain't trying to die right now. But before we go forward, we have a special message from us. All right, coming straight from the Operation Matrix team here at Rootkit. They cooked up a new concoction, some more beautiful deep fake goodness for us. All right, so for us to all entertain. If you haven't seen it yet, it's live. It's on our channel. I did edit the video myself, so that's why the quality's so low. The next ones are going to be made by our video editors, which will actually look half decent. All right, so don't judge that too hard. But make sure you're sharing some of our disinformation information. All right, disinformation information. Make sure you share some of it. All right, because it doesn't work without you guys. But let's go ahead and let's hear it. What do we got? Oh, really? No audio?
Are really trying hard.
I gotta redo it.
Seriously, though, we really have an education problem. It's insane to think about. But charities like Rootkit are really trying hard to change that. And it's just insane the amount of support organizations like that don't get, because they aren't trying to sell people on bullshit like how most are. The college system has gone to shit. The U.S. education system has gone to shit. We are really in a dark time. And only charities like Rootkit can get us out of it, you know? Seriously, though, we really have an
I know.
education problem. It's insane to think about.
All right. Thank you so much, fake Joe Rogan. That was very inspirational and very, very true. All the way down to the core. All right. All the way down to the core. So make sure you give Fake Joe a nice thumbs up on that video. Go over there, like it, and share it around. Share it around, all right? We got to spread the word. We got to tell the people, all right? What do we got here? We got to... What is that? Is that a pug? What does it have? What is this thing? Can I copy this emoji? Decision's got like some wild emoji game going on. Let me turn on the music because it's a little too quiet. Let me turn this down here. What is this emoji? Chill with dog. My God, I like that. It says chill dog. I like it. I like it. That is a sick emoji. All right. Let us continue on. We're going to go ahead and jump right into GitHub here and head over to our profile. And we're going to jump right into our word guessing repo. Word guessing repo, because that's where we left off. We pushed our changes to dev, but we never brought it to main. All right, we finished our version 2. We finished version 2 completely. We got the little guide going on for our word guessing here. Super cool, super intuitive. Our users are really, really, happy with us, what we turned in. It made it really, really easy for them to, start chugging along here. So sweet, we're golden. We're ready to release this onto main as version 2.0. All right, version 2.0. Oh, but when do you know when to do 1.0 or 2.0 or like 1.1? Great question. I think we answered this before. 1 is major, and then the 0.0 after that is going to be your minor. Let me turn. There we go. It's going to be your minor. So typically for this, so let me zoom in a little bit more. So the first one here is major. Then we have .0. That's going to be your minor. .0, and that's going to be like your bug fixes, etc., etc. The .0 you can change as often as you want for whatever you want. All right, nothing's too insignificant for that. The next one up, this one right here, that's currently O. This is for any major changes that you make that like add new features, but don't currently break any of your old support. All right, any of your old support. So for example, if you were reading a file from a certain location, and then you made an update that would break that, the location moved somewhere else, that may be a major number. So this 1 right now, you may want to change that to a 2. So technically, we should be going to version 1.1 because we have a major update, but it's nothing like insanely new or game breaking or anything like that. But again, it's the programming world. You can do whatever you want. All right. They're just kind of guidelines. They're not rules. They're not regs. And there's nothing that's going to adhere you to it. So knowing that, I don't care. I'm going to release it as 2.0 because 2.0 sounds bigger, awesomer, and more epic. All right. Which means it's going to get more attention. So we thrive for attention. All right. That's the only way we can live in life, right? Is attention. Attention whore. Let me go grab my... All right, you guys want to take a selfie with me real quick? All right. I just need to post this on Instagram real quick. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So let's go through the steps again of merging this over by making a pull request. All right. Making a pull request. So first thing you're going to want to do, if I haven't given you enough time, is load up GitHub. All right, load up GitHub. Go over to pull requests. Go over pull requests. In here, we're going to want to make a new pull request. All right, we're doing this way. Maybe the next one we'll do on the command line instead, just to reinforce that habit. You typically won't do it on the command line at your job. You're going to use either GitHub or GitLab for doing this type of management. Again, because it is like a intermediate step, not built into Git itself, but it allows you to kind of do some moderation before making things like official, just to do a last minute check, sanity check on people's changes, and it won't break anything. So we want to merge dev into main, right? We want to merge dev into main. It's going to give us a little status output, tell us if we're able to merge it in or not. It looks like everything's good. So we're going to go ahead and create the pull request. All right, here. This is us creating our pull request. We got to give it a title. All right. So let's say version 2 is Gucci. All right. Mods, you better approve this or I'ma fine you. All right. Or I'ma fine you. All right. So we leave the reviewers, moderators, whoever, nice little message, encourage them to approve our stuff and definitely not kick it back. And when we're ready to do that, then we can actually create our pull request. I know we clicked on create before, but it didn't actually create it. It just opened up this. Now we're actually going to create it, all right, with this button. So we'll click that, and it's now created. All right, our pull request is now created. You can have it's just a little discussion board. You can go back and forth with whoever you're chatting with. And then when it's all good, whoever is in charge of you ideally would be the one that presses the green button. But since you're in charge of yourself, right? You are, right? I hope so. You get to press the green button, all right? So we don't have to moderate or talk to anyone else unless we want to talk to ourselves. Hello. I miss you. Oh, look, a message from myself. Oh, he misses me. I miss you too. And let's do a little heart. Oh, there we go. Awesome. All right, I think that won me over. I don't need to do a code check. Well, maybe we should. This guy, maybe he's throwing me off my game. So if you do want to review, if someone ever did send you a pull request and you want to review it, there are tabs right here, like commit. You can see the commits they did. And then right here, you can also see the file changes that are going to take place. So you can see here, that our code that we changed from that hard-coded list going to opening that file is changing right here. It's changing right here. We can get a glance at it and see. It's very, very useful for moderating what's going on, all right? It's very, very useful for that. So now we're going to go ahead and go back to conversation here, and we'll go ahead and merge the pull request, all right? We'll merge the pull request. And we want to confirm it. There we go. It is donezo. We have done it. Version 2 is now here live on main. It's live on main. We got one last thing though, because we brought all the new code here on main, and you can see now it shows up here on main, this little nice new readme we got here. We got one last thing we got to change though. Our releases here, right? Our releases here are not updated. And I just remembered I'm not in the events chat in the Discord. Let me jump in there real quick. There we go. So if you guys don't know, anyone that's Discord Premium or Patreon member, you can jump into the events chat at any time and just chat away. You don't have to type. You can just talk in the events chat. So we merge our code. It's here on main. But we got to make a new release for it. All right, we got to make a new release for it because it's not tagged. So let's go ahead and click on releases here, and let's go ahead and click on draft a new release. We want to make a new tag. So this one is going to be version 1. No, we want this 2.0.0. We'll create a new tag. It's going to be from main, version 2. We did it. We saved the city. All right, really good release notes we got here. Wait, generate. Let's click that. I've never clicked that button before. Interesting. Interesting. I guess you can click that button too. But that's all you got to do. Remember, just you have to type in this little box what you want your tag to be. All right. Then this is like another blog post, just information about this tagged item. And we'll go ahead and publish this release. And bam, this release is now out. And you can see that it's for this hash right here, 385CD86. So 86 is the last two numbers. And we can see here that we have two releases. remember, this is the hash that's corresponding with the commit, which is like a snapshot. It's an official save, which is an official snapshot in time. All right. Our current one, it ends with 86. If we look at version 2, it is the one that ends in 86. If we look at version 1, it ends in 52. All right, because this is a different commit. This is a different snapshot in time. The history never gets deleted. It's there. It exists. We can click on that, what do you call it? If I go back, if we click on this hash here that links us to that commit, we can view the code. All right. Not even that, we can click on right here, browse files, and we can literally go back in time and see how things looked back in time. This is a different one. This is D0. Wasn't that one? No, this is 86. This is the one. This is the most current one. Why didn't it take me back in time? All right, this is F2. Okay, maybe it's not this button that we have to click on. There is a button here somewhere. Can I click on that one? Show me the button. Okay, well, it's being difficult right now, but what you can also do is click on commits right here, and then we can look for F2. Here it is. If we click on this button, the little code area, we can browse the repo at this point in history. So we click on that, we can see exactly how a repo looked like for that older snapshot. All right, we can go back in time. That's the powerful thing about Git. It shows the history of your application and you developing it and every little snapshot you took, and you can always go back in time if something bad happened, or maybe you did something really cool you know, a little while ago and you ended up deleting it. You could take an official snapshot of it and then move forward, and then when you want to refer back to it, you could go back and refer to it. It's just very, very useful. But yeah. All right, sweet. So we have officially updated with version 2.0 live. We did it live. This is, I want this one. All right. So remember that let me zoom in here. Remember, we just updated the remote server. We did some tasks on that remote server. It was us that did it, but remember, you can work with multiple people at the same time on the same code base using Git. So if they were to ever push changes and put the remote server more ahead of where you are, you got to remember, you got to pull, you got to git pull. You got to run that git pull command. So let's go and run git pull so we can get all the updates from the server down to us, all right? Because it doesn't happen automatically. So let's go and run that, and we should probably be in the correct directory for this. So let's go and cd to word guessing here. Now let's do a git pull. All right, there we go. We got our updates. Let's see what branch we're on. Git status, we're on dev. All right, perfect. We want to be on dev. So we can continue programming on forward. All right, we can continue programming on forward. Customer ringed. Ring, 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 ring. Love what you're doing. All right, love what you're doing. We want to keep you on board. We want you to make us more stuff. Make us more stuff. We want to have a score system. We want score saved. We want player names saved and their score by them, kind of like an old arcade version of the game where like you play it and then your score is saved and it's just a generic name, and if you replay it again you got to re-enter a name and there's not really any attachments to it, but that's fine. We want an old arcade style scoreboard. Okay, sounds good. Don't know how to do it, but we'll figure it out. All right, bye. You're never really gonna know most of the time when you get requests, whether you work for the company or you're being, running your own business and you're contracted out, how to do what they're asking. But you can figure it out. All right, you can figure it out. It's all about that problem solving. All right, that's why we talk about it so much. Problem solving, Googling, looking things up, doing your own research. All right, you gotta be independent. All right, you cannot be dependent on things or people. You gotta be independent. All right. Shall we continue then? Any questions before we move on to, what do you call it? We move on to adding our new features here. All right, I'm gonna take that as a no. YouTube people are kind of dead today. They must have gone bye-bye. All right, let us continue on here then, shall we? So, we got another big task. Add high score. Seems like a lot to consume. Seems like a lot to do. We barely know how to program as it is, but it's okay. Remember, number one motto. Rootkit model. Where is it? There you go. Rootkit model. Number one. What is it saying? What is it? Can you focus, please? Why is it not focusing? All right. Well, that's as good as it gets. 1 bit at a time. 1 bit at a time. All right. High score. We don't really know how to do it. Let's cut it up. Let's think about the little tiny steps we can do to start accomplishing it, to start moving forward. So, to make a high score, they specifically said they want a name for the high score. Well, we can do that one of two ways. We could collect their name at the very beginning of the game, or we could do it at the very end of the game. All right, totally up to us. The customer did not specify, so it's totally up to us on what we want to do. To make it as, I guess, arcadey as possible, we would want to do it at the end, right? Because that's typically where you would enter in your name, would be at the very end of when you play in like an arcade game. So I guess we'll put that at the end. All right. We should, okay, so if we're going to put it at the end, there needs to be some type of score people get. So how do we want to do scores? Well, if people guess things correctly, then they should go up. We could go about it multiple ways. They didn't really specify, so we could, if they guess correctly, they could gain points, or maybe we can do it only when they get a word. But if we want it just to be a playthrough like how it is right now, where you play one word and you get points, then maybe it should just be points based off each character, maybe. And maybe we should do negative points when they get something wrong, when they fail an attempt. So we could go about that. Totally up to us. They didn't specify. Customer didn't specify the points, how many points, anything like that. We got to make it up ourselves. So we know we want points. All right, we know we want points. Let's start there. Points sound kind of easy, at least. We got to say how much they should get right when they get something right. How much they get when they get something right. How much do they negatively affects them when they get something wrong. We can start there. All right, that seems like an easy next baby step. So let's just go ahead and generically, somewhere before our game loop, let's go ahead and make some new variables. So we want some type of like score that they get when they guess a character correctly. So let's say score correct. All right, this is the score they get when they are correct about something. I don't know. Let's give them 10 points. Sure, why not? Let's give them 10 points. And then score incorrect. Maybe we give them what? We want them to lose points, so it should be a negative number, right? Because if you add a negative number to a positive number, it just does minus. It does subtraction effectively. So maybe we should do like 5. Or do we want to be like an aggressive game? We can do like 15, a big boo boo. Let's do that. Let's do super mean. All right, aggressive, big boo boo. All right, -15, -15. All right. So I guess we should also have like what we should keep track of what their current score is. We could do that with the variable, right? So let's say they're current score. Or I guess to fit our naming scheme here, let's do score current equals 0. Because everyone's going to start with 0, right? Everyone tracking so far, right? No one's confused right now. This makes sense. All right. Yes, we did talk about type destroyer. We did talk about type a couple days ago. Are we even using a type in this game? I don't think we are right now. I can't remember which day, but I think it was the first day. So if you go to the first day of programming, which was, I don't know, day like 40 or something like that, you can get a rundown on type. All right, sweet. So we know that. So let's continue on forward here. All right, we know we should positively grant people points when they get something right. And guess what? We have some logic for that. We also have some logic for when they get something wrong. It's all the way down here, right? We left nice little comments for it. So our logic, seeing if they won the game or not, so that's not what we want. If they guessed incorrectly. All right, if they guessed incorrectly, this is where we should be deducting their points. So in here, right beside their attempts going down, let's go ahead and say that their current score, which we named score current, should be equal to their current score plus score incorrect. But why a plus? That doesn't make any sense. Remember, it's a negative number. This incorrect score is a negative number. So when we add a negative number, it just ends up being minus. All right, it just ends up being minus. Now, we haven't really gone over, what do you call it? We haven't gone over too much shorthand stuff, but there is a way to do shorthand. All right, there. Let's see, I'm super behind, but I've been trying to catch up. Great, yeah. Make sure you keep trying to catch up. We have everything is recorded on the YouTube channel, so you can always go over there and get catch up on all the older days. Let's see here. So if we look at if we go to our site, our cert site, and we look at Python, if it will load. There we go. If we go to view requirements for Python, and we look at Python requirements, you're going to see here in our basic operators, we talked about these ones here at the beginning. We didn't really talk much about these ones. All right, we didn't talk much about these ones. These are shorthand. What are they shorthand for? This is shorthand for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Those four most common operations, all right, those have shorthands. What does a shorthand mean? Well, right here, you see we have current score equals current score. I mean, that's twice we typed it. What do we not like? We don't like things being wet, all right? We like being dry and warm and comfortable in our own little dark cave, all right? Too many lights around me right now, all right? It's usually very dark in here, all right? So this is a lot of typing. Programmers don't like doing a lot of typing, all right? We're trying to be lazy. This is going against our lazy policy here. And then we do plus score incorrect. All we're doing is we want to just add this score incorrect to our current score. So we can type this out. It's just fine. It works just fine. You can also do the shorthand instance of it. What's the shorthand instance? We can do current score plus equals score incorrect, right? This basically gets rid of that redundancy, and it effectively means apply this directly to this variable and save the results to this variable. So it's a little shorthand way for you to go about this stuff. I'm not going to modify the rest in this way, just this one, so it's a little teaser, so you guys kind of get exposure to it. And if you're confused again, they're all laid out right here, so you can reference them, look at them. Again, it's just plus, minus, multiply and division, and the sign always comes before the equal sign, right? The sign always comes before the equal sign. All right, so right here, we have just modified our game to do what? To subtract their score. Let's see if it actually worked. All right, let's not go any further. I don't even know if this works right now. So let's go ahead and do some testing, shall we? Let's just do a simple print statement right here at the beginning, right beside our attempts, because it's just right there, easy at the beginning in front of us. So let's just do something simple. Let's just print our current score. So let's grab score current, paste it right here, and let's run our game. And I don't think it's going to work because I haven't CD'd it in the directory, because our word list, remember, that we're reading in is relative. It's a relative path. So we got to be in the right place when this runs. So let's go ahead and CD into word guessing and let's run this. And all right, it's looking good so far. We didn't break nothing. All right, we got a 0. 0 means we're starting with a score of 0. All right. We're good so far. So we did something if we're incorrect. We got a 3-letter word here. No clue what it is. I hope there's not a Z in it. All right, let's do a Z and see if we'll be wrong. If we are wrong, our score should change to -15. Let's press enter. Look at that. We did it. We saved a city. We have a score of -15 and we were incorrect and our attempts went down. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. We have progressed forward another realm. We have added some cool new functionality to our game. Now we got to do positive scores, all right, when they get things correctly. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, shall we? I'm going to close this one out. Any questions so far on that before we move forward and do the current score? I want to make sure everyone that's watching is good, not just typing away. Can I see the end of the code, please? Sure. So right here, we just added one new line. This is the shorthand version. I guess right below I'll type in. So I'm going to leave this as a comment. But this is how we would have normally gone about it if I didn't show you the shorthand version. Right? If I didn't show you the shorthand version. They both work. They're both fine. They're both valid. It's just multiple ways to do the same thing. All right? So this is how we've been seeing it, and this is the shorthand version. You only need one of these because we only want to give them incorrect points once. And again, it's plus because it's a negative number that we have in score incorrect. And when you add a negative number to a number, it does a subtraction, all right? You don't believe me? You got the calculator, all right? Your calculator on your computer will save you. If you don't use this all the time already, you must not be a nerd. Stop resisting, all right? You're programming now. You're doing calculus and you didn't even know it, all right? We already went over this. Just accept it. Just accept it. All right, we good, Kauai? I'm gonna assume so. It was just one line, right? We good, right? Top. All right, here's the top. All right, so we have to do correct now. This should be as easy as incorrect, right? Well, we would hope so, but you know, programming sometimes it just ends up being more difficult than you thought originally. So let's see if we're gonna be happy because it's easy or very, very mad because it's difficult. All right, so let's go ahead and scroll down because we know that we made some logic for finding out whether things were correct or not. So let's go over there and check whether, you know, we got some correctness or not going on here. So, looking at our comments here, if you can't just easily read the code, checking if they have us bad inputs. I think someone else has haved us some bad comments here. They gave us, someone should be fired. That's all I'm saying. Who's going around making comments like that? It's so cringe. All right. Whew. Well, my job's on the line. Checking if they guess a char correctly. All right. Seems like what we want. When they guess a character correctly, right? So we already have this thing called the truth tracker, all right? The truth tracker. And this truth tracker is a flag, remember? It's a flag that we made that if they get something correct, that they should be able to just keep playing and, what do you call it? They should be able to just keep playing and not run into, or not get a missed attempt. But if we look up above, we have this if statement here. User input equals char. So that means the user has guessed something correctly. So maybe we don't need to do anything with the truth tracker. We could just do something in this block of logic, because it's already going based off what the user inputted and if it's equal to something that's currently correct. So it's looking right now, it might be just as easy for us to add positive points here. So let's just try it out and see what happens. If we say our score correct, and I'm going to do long form here, the long form of it. This is the only place I'm going to do shorthand. I would typically do shorthand everywhere, but I'm going to do long form so it's, you know, if any of you guys are still confused on what the hell this is doing, we're just going to do long form, all right? All right, so score not correct, current. Score current equals score current plus score correct. All right, score current plus score correct. Should be it, right? Right? Let's try it. Let's figure it out, I guess. So trying is free, all right? I guess it's not that free. We got to move our mouse all the way up here and click on it. So let's go ahead and do that. We didn't cancel our last game, so make sure you smash Control C. Oh, thanks for the follow, Destroyer. Make sure you smash Control C a bunch to exit the other game that was running, all right? So you don't have any issues. All right, and let's go ahead and run our game. Looks good so far. We got a 0 here. Let's before we get potentially disappointed, all right? We want to kind of build ourselves up a little bit, right? Just float the ego a little bit. So let's just do something we know should work. Let's go ahead and do a negative number, right? Let's go and do a negative number, or not negative number. Let's do a wrong character. Let's just go with Z, because most likely there won't be a Z in this word. So if we get negative numbers, it means we did something right. We did. All right. We didn't break our bad temp stuff. Let's see if our correct score stuff works. Is there an A in this word? Oh my. Whew. There was an A. Didn't know there was going to be an A, but there was an A. The thrill of the game. And doubly impressive is we have -5 now, which is different from -15. How much different is it? It's different by 10 numbers. What did we say our positive or correct score was going to be? 10. So it's working. It's 100% working. We have scores working 100% perfectly in our game. That is super awesome. And again, just like the file IO that we did, we pretty much only added 2. If you subtract the line that already existed and that we like altered, we only added 2 new lines. 3 max if you want to be like, you know, super stingy about it. And we got so much extra functionality. Here, we're adding scoring, which seemed like it would be complicated, but we only had to add 3 variables here, all right, Technically, you could do less. Technically, what we did here was a nicer, more dynamic, drier way, because now we can just change this number here and have it change everywhere in our program. The other way we could do it is just not have these here, and on these lines where score is correct, we could just type in 10 and score incorrect, -15. We could do it that way too. That would work. But now it's not as dry because we have to go searching around, and I'm lazy. I just want to see all of my settings right here at the beginning of my code. So I'm going to go and undo that. But again, we've seen we added what? 3 lines of code here, and they were just variables. We added 1 line of code here and 1 line of code here. 5 total. 5 total. And we got a whole new function or functionality added to our game. That's pretty cool. How come things were so hard and difficult and before? Great question. When you're usually building out a brand new application from scratch, all right? When you're building all of the base core systems and getting something working, it's always going to be a lot of initial work to get a foundation set up. I mean, have you ever seen a house get built? Watched a video, gone down that YouTube rabbit hole? To build a house, there's a lot of work beforehand that needs to go in. You gotta bring bulldozers in, you gotta dig out the dirt or put in dirt to make sure it's flat, level. Then you need the steam, God, what are they called? The you know what I'm talking about? The ones that like are big and just want to flatten. Oh God, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Someone help me out in chat, please. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. They have to go through and make sure everything is perfect and level. Then you have to go through and build the like wooden supports for the concrete foundation. And then once everything is then checked and verified again, and only then can you then pour the cement. And usually you're going to, do you usually reinforce it? I don't know. Sometimes you might have to put reinforcement in the cement before laying the foundation completely. It's a lot of work. And then building the house on top usually is like, hammer in a couple planks, there you go, there's a house. There's a lot of prep work that takes place. Same thing here in our game. We spend a lot of time prepping the game because we're making it from nothing, all right? We're making it from nothing. But once we have our base game made, adding additional features should usually be relatively easy, all right? Relatively easy. Any questions on that? And this is why you should also be hypercritical of all game devs, software companies, etc., that you give your money to, and etc. You know, when the dev or the fan community gets all uproar about how maybe like some minor feature isn't there or why haven't they added it, etc., a lot of times there's not really an excuse for the company. They're just being lazy. All right, whether they want to say X, Y, Z, more important resources, blah, 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 it's usually just lazy. Usually most features that are requested, not like new game modes or anything like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just nicety features, all right? And any type of new score is pretty much just as easy as you saw right here today. So if you want a new stats tracked, etc., it's usually really relatively easy once the game is already made. When they don't add it, it's usually just a lie, a bullshit excuse. All right? Usually. Not always, just usually it is. It's very, very common. All right. Looks like there's no questions here. So let's go ahead and finish this, shall we? We now have a score. We have positive points, negative points that are being implemented. It's a very basic system, but it works. All right. Now, there's one last step. When they finish the game, they need to give us a name that then we'll associate with the high score and we need to save it. We need to save it. All right. There's a lot of stuff there. So let's just start with something easy. Let's see if we can just get their name. All right. Let's see if we can just get their name. And we need their name whether they win or they lose. All right. So to get their name, we should probably go to the end of our while loop here, our game loop. All right. End of our game loop, which is going to be right here. When we're printing you won or you lost. So we wouldn't want to put our logic inside of the if or the else, because again, we would have to repeat it twice. If they won, we're still collecting the information. If they lost, we're still collecting the information. So we don't need to put it in either of these. We can just put it right after, right? We can just put it right after, because it's going to run whether they win or whether they lose. And we want things to be dry. So let's not repeat ourselves. Let's just put it right after here. So we need their name. So we know a command to collect input. It's called input. So let's go and type in input. All right. Let's give them a nice little prompt so the user knows what they're even doing. Enter name for saving high score. I feel like there's a lot of text. I'm just going to make it a little nicer looking. I'm going to put the text above. And then I'm going to say enter below. Enter. All right. What is it going to look like? It's going to look like exactly what you see here on the terminal. Print name for, or enter name for, enter name to be saved on the high score list. And then we want to have some input that we're getting. They're going to be entering right here. All right, we need to save off their name. So let's say name equals input. All right, and let's just test this out and see if it works. Let's go and just print their name back out so we can see what they typed, see if it's all working. All right, let's go ahead and rerun this. All right, let's get our attempt wrong. Let's just do a Z, and let's do another Z. Ooh, looks kind of good so far. Says we lost. Enter name to be saved on the high score list. We have our little prompt here next that says enter, and we can enter in a name, and it should just print it back out to us. Name is Bobby Joe. All right, Bobby Joe. Press enter. All right, looks like that's working so far. We're printing their instructions, we're getting input, and then right now we're just printing their name back out because we just want to see what's, what's happening. We want to get a little visual check here. So now that we have the name inside the name variable, we have their score inside of the score current variable. Now let's save it to a file. How do we save it to a file? How do other games save stuff to a file? How does saving actually even work? It's a great question. Great questions. And always, it's a very complex one. We're going to go down a rabbit hole, all right? Check this out. All right, look. Try to stick along. All right, there's going to be a lot of stuff. Saving for every game is up to however they want it. All right, that's the answer. It's whatever you want it. It's however you want to do it. There is no standard. There is no format. There is no nothing. It's however you want to do it. You want it to be an Excel spreadsheet? You can make it an Excel spreadsheet. You want it to be a text file? You can make it a text file. I swear, when I look at other games, it's all like binary data. Like I can't read it. It's unreadable. Some games, yes. Some games, no. Some games literally just do a text file. The games that do the binary data, it's not actually binary. It's being stored in a compressed format. Not really compressed, but it's being stored in a more compressed format. It's just normal data. It's just slightly compressed, so it doesn't take up as much space, but also it's faster when they read it into memory. We'll show off how to do it as a text file and how to do it as the fancy binary way. All right, so it's faster for us to read the data. But literally, it's up to you. There's no standard way on how save should be, user progression. you have to figure out how you want to do it every single way. How do you do that? Well, reload in variables. So for example, if we wanted to continue a game here, if it's a new game, current score should be equal to 0. If it's a loaded session, we should have some maybe flag, like with our truth tracker and our winning tracker. We should have maybe a loaded tracker or a loading flag, where when that's set, we're going to instead store in our score current here the value that we loaded up. All right, it's totally up to you. All right, there. Now I think Unity and Unreal have. Don't believe a damn word I'm about to say, but I'm pretty sure they have functions built in for doing a lot of saving of data for you automatically. This is a question you should probably ask Cote in the Discord, because he's going to have more experience, most likely with save files, I would assume, than me, specifically for Unity engine games. All right, so you can ask him in there. All right, so we want to save this. You know what? We're going to save this as plain text first, and we're going to do it in CSV format. It's called, yeah, CSV format. What is CSV format? That sounds very fancy. Am I going to die? Am I going to be lost in the sauce? Lost in the sauce? I don't know. Maybe. All right. Can't really help you there too much. But is it hard? No. CSV stands for comma separated something. CSV. Comma separated values. All right. It's a kind of hard concept to grasp, but what you do is you store data with commas in between them. I know it's a lot. It's a lot. This you've probably messed with before. CSVs are a way you can load in data into an Excel spreadsheet. They're completely compatible with Excel. So if you have Excel, they are compatible. If you have Google product suites like the Google Sheets, it's compatible with Google Sheets. Also, for both those programs, you can export in CSV format. It's a text file that literally looks like this, and it just has commas between everything. Looks just like this, commas between everything. So what are we going to do here? We're going to store their name with a comma, and then we're going to store their score. And we're just going to append new values to it every time someone plays. All right, every time someone plays. Keyword there, append. All right. So what does append do? Append will add something to the end of the file. We know when we open a file, we can open it in append mode, because we saw that yesterday in the documentation with an A. So I'm going to copy and steal these lines right here. All right, we're going to alter them. All right, but I'm a lazy programmer and I steal things. All right, I'm a little thief. So I'm going to steal this. I'm going to go down here to the bottom. And I'm going to paste. All on it. Real quick. Side. I posted a meme that was funny in the Discord. And I want you guys to laugh too. There we go. Here it is. This is what I mean. Me looking at open source code to steal into my project. Respectfully. All right. You steal. All right. So let's move on here. Obviously, depending on the open source project, follow the license on it. But most of them, you can just go in there and take stuff. All right. So we know now this code will work, this file code. We just need to alter it a little bit. Number one, we need to alter. We can't have this saving on the word list. All right. We got to have another file, our save file. What should we call it? Whatever you want. I'm going to call it saved. Saved. All right. That's where all our saved info will go. We don't want it in read mode. We're not reading from this file. We're simply going to add data to it. We want to add data to the end of it. So we'll go ahead and open it in append mode, which will automatically add data to the end. Next, we don't need to read any lines here. So we're just going to erase that line. All right. Sometimes when you copy and paste and steal stuff, there's a couple extra lines there that you don't really need. So delete those. And then we got to close the file. All right, we gotta close the file. So, missing a step here. We gotta write the data. Now, to go about this, you can explore in multiple ways on how to figure out this answer. We've pretty much always shown you can go Google it. We've talked about how you can explore in VS Code the possible answer. So this time, instead of Googling, let's explore what we could potentially do here in VS Code for our exploration. Instead, let's type in file, and we know if we do a dot at the end of it, it will tell us all of the potential actions and variables that are attached to it. So let's just look through here for once. Let's, instead of Googling, let's save our time and just go exploring. Let's see what's available. We got flush, errors, encode, file no. Why are you telling the file no? Is Addy. What is, there's some bizarre stuff in here. I know. But just keep scrolling. Keep scrolling and just look through everything. See what's in there. Read, well, we've seen that before. We've seen read line and read lines before. Seek, interesting. Seek seems like it might be useful sometime. Tell. Okay, interesting. Truncate. Writable? Seems like we might be getting warmer. Write. Maybe this is what we should do. All right. Let's move forward. No. Just like the documentation, don't stop right at where you get your answer. Keep reading further. You never know what you might uncover. You might find something that's even better. All right. So let's keep moving forward. We got right here. Mental note. This is probably what we want. But let's move forward and see what else is here. Write through. Write lines. So multiple lines at once. We're only writing one line at a time right now, so I don't know if that's going to be useful, but let's move forward. Check, close, annotate, delete. Okay. Doesn't look like any of this would be useful. All right, and there was nothing here that's specifically called append. So we're going to guess that maybe write is what we want. So let's press enter on that so write shows up, and if we hover over write, we'll see that we can give it a string and it's going to write it. There's not very much more information here. So let's just give it a string and see if it works, I guess. I don't know. Worst case scenario, we're going to get an error and we're going to go back to Googling. All right. The point is we're showing, this is another way you can go looking through things. Let's see here. I got some questions rolling in. My word list file became red. I deleted it to make a new one, and my OneDrive keeps telling me I can restore files from the recycling bin. Any idea what that is? That's because you deleted the file and it wants you to know it can recover it if you want to recover it. So just ignore it and make a new one if that's what you wanted. IDK what's happening to it, but it isn't connecting to my code anymore. So this whole thing is messing up for me. It was working yesterday. I highly recommend turn the fucking OneDrive off. That's the first thing I did. All right, turn that shit off. Don't use it at all. I don't use it at all. Just turn it off. Just turn it off. It's just turn it off. All right. Add stuff to your desktop that's not connected typically to your OneDrive. Just avoid the OneDrive. I can't really help you too much there. I avoid OneDrive completely for my sake because I don't want all of my stuff on my computer being stored to Microsoft's cloud. All right. I do not consent to that. How? I'm not even signed into it. If you're signed into your operating system, if it's Windows 10 or 11, you are signed into, most likely, you're signed into your Microsoft account. All right, you're signed into your Microsoft account. We kind of showed that off back in the operating system section. If you type in OneDrive, OneDrive will show up. Also, if you click on the arrow right here, OneDrive will show up. Mine doesn't show it up because I don't have it running. So definitely check out some solutions for that. There's a bunch of YouTube videos. So we're about at the 1 hour mark. So let's go ahead and go on break. And when we come back from the break, we're going to go ahead and finish up with saving to a file. All right. And then after that, we're going to show you how you can also save it in a binary way. So you look maybe more elite than other people because you're doing stuff in binary. No, I don't. I didn't uninstall it. I just turned it off. But we'll go on break. We'll be gone for 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll be back. And hopefully, Kawaii will be able to fix her computer by then. All right. I'll see you guys in 3 to 5 minutes. Alrighty. We are back here to continue our journey on 100 Days of Rootkit. We're almost at day 50, y'all. That's pretty exciting. The halfway point. We already learned so much already. In the next 50 days, I'll be doubling that. Well, not really. I guess I should say most of the info has already been taught. The next 50 days, we're going to learn a couple more like new things, but most of it's going to be just programming and reprogramming and remaking things and just getting that habit of programming and thinking through logic and how to go about it and etc. All right, because that's the last building block. It usually takes people as long, if not longer, to really get that snap of logic in programming and how to really understand things. So that's why literally half of the time is going to be spent for that. Also, you guys kind of just went through the written content stuff that we needed to talk about. Not very much questions. So kind of concerned, but also you guys have been doing pretty good at recalling a lot of the info. So that's also very, very impressive. Before we go any further though, if you guys aren't tracking, we are Rootkit, non-profit based here in the States. We like doing things for free. Our class we're doing here for free is the number one. All right. It's the industry's best comp sci cert, period. It's better than a college degree. It's literally better than any other boot camp. They're not even a comparison. And it's free right now. Did it cost you money to go to YouTube? No, it cost you your soul though, but that's all right. You get one of those for free. So you can sell it to Google for free, and then you can watch this, right? Or if you're over on Twitch, right? Those Twitch people, weirdos. I don't know why they're not on YouTube, all right? All right, so on top of all this free stuff, we got our free giveaways. So make sure you go over to the blog section of our site and then click on week 7 giveaway and enter, all right? Free to enter. All you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel and a bunch of other basic things, following us on Twitch, etc. And you could potentially win whatever this mystery gift will be. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe we should do like a random draw. I'll like write out all the merch we have, and then we'll just do another random number draw and see. If you like what we're doing and you want to help support us, doing things for free is very, very expensive. All right? It's very, very expensive. We need to make our money somehow. All right, so donations, everything's tax deductible. Avoid your taxes. Let us be your tax haven. Donate today. All donations are being met 1-for-1 for the first 10,000 donations. Also, we have goals like streaming for 24 hours straight, shaving my head here live on stream, and the one no one wants to see, so we don't need to get there, is shaving my beard. All right. We also have, depending on how much you donate, our sticker rewards, this epic shirt that you can get. All right, and our exclusive 100 Days of Rootkit sweater. Super awesome. All right, let us chug along here, shall we? So, files. We gotta save our stats. We're using A for append. We found this right thing. We don't know if it's right or wrong, but we're gonna see. All right, we're gonna see. So we know we need to write the name. So let's do a string here. We're gonna use format. So we know we need to write a name, then a comma, and we need another, or we need the score. All right. So we can do a dot format, and then we can say we want the name, comma, we want the score. So score current. All right, score current. All right. One last thing. You'll find this through your testing, but there is a bug in our code. There is a bug in it. We're not, again, anytime you get input from a user, anytime you're using this input command, and technically anytime you're reading from a file, all right? Right now we have no filtering on our read, which is a big no-no, all right? Also, anytime you get input, you must do filtering. Never, ever trust any entry points. All right. You got to be like the TSA at the airport. bunch of scanners, metal detectors, randomness. We don't randomly select people to go through a more thorough investigation though. Everyone goes through the more thorough investigation. There is no exceptions. You will literally strip search everyone, all right? And put your hand in all types of weird places for everyone, all right? You must always filter any data you are getting from a user, whether it's from a file or whether it's from text that they're entering. You got to do it, or else you will make exploitable content. Exploitable content, all right? What do I mean by that? If they enter their name right now, there is a possibility they could exploit the game right now. Let's actually just show it off right here. Let's show how people can exploit our game right now. We just introduced an exploit to our game. Some people might call it a feature. Depends on who you ask. I'm going to tell you it's a straight up exploit. So let's see what's going on here. And how do we perform this exploit we just did? We're kind of confused. We just wanted to make a game. So right now, let's see, I guess, first if this should work. We're going to save the data. We're going to save it in this format. We're saving the name and we're saving the current score, and it's going to close. We can go look at this file and see if everything got saved in it. So let's go ahead and run this, and let's go ahead and get the game wrong. So let's just do a Z and another Z. We got the name wrong. We have a score of -30 because we got -15 twice, even though it just says -15 here. So maybe we want to display the score when someone loses or wins. That might be a nicety feature. All right, but before we go there, let's go to enter our name. Let's say our name is Bob. Press enter. Everything should have saved. It looks like we got a save file. So far things look good. They look like they're working. So let's click on the save file. Look at that. We got an entry in here. Bob, comma, -30. Bob, comma, -30. What do you mean exploit? It looks fine. Things are working. Yeah, things always work fine until things aren't fine. All right, until everything is on fire. There is an exploit in this game. We're going to show it off here in a second. So before moving forward, let's make a new file here for reading from this, reading this file. All right, reading this file. So let's call this scorereader.py. We want to read a CSV file. We know we have code that we can copy and steal for reading a file. So let's go back to the word guessing game, scroll up. This code will read a file. Let's go in and copy it. Go back here. We have successfully stolen our code and got away with our crime. We just need to change word list into saved. So now we are successfully reading this file in. Let's change this variable to just something called like data. And at the end, let's go ahead and print the data. All right, very simple program. We stole these lines of codes. We just renamed the variable to data because I didn't want to type out that other variable. And we're just going to print it to see if we're reading the file correctly. So if we run this, you'll see that we get Bob, comma, -30 showing up. Cool. From this, we're able to then potentially just parse every comma that we see. All right. That's a way of going about it. We could also potentially Google something because CSV files are a very common occurrence. We could Google Python read in CSV, because that's a very common thing to do. All right, Excel like spreadsheet style data is very, 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 very common. If you've never used spreadsheets at your job before, you must be in high school, because everyone uses a spreadsheet, I swear, in their professional career. Somehow, somewhere, they'll sneak their ways into it, right? It's so common that Python has a dedicated library for reading CSV. Now, this is going to be the official Python docs, all right? So you may or may not want to go through reading this. Let's go ahead and go to the second link. All right, Python docs will always have more info, but let's go to the second link here and see if they just have some easier example code for us to grab. No, I'm not. I thought they wouldn't. What is this? I ain't going to make freaking rows. Who do you think I am? Alright, we might just go to the Python documentation. Read mode, CSV, file, print lines. Alright, we're going to go with this one, because this one looks simple. We don't know what this width is, but we know what open is. So let's just go ahead and copy this. Go back here. We have no width, but we do have a file that's opening. So let's go and put it in here because we're doing stuff while it's open. Look at that. It's conveniently named file. Also, this is not a part of the standard Python. It's a part of the standard Python language, but not usable at default. We need this import CSV. So let's go and grab that and add it to the top here. A lot of things happen here. So let's read through and see if we're good. We got this code. It came with comments. Very, very nice. This is for reading your CSV file. It looks like we must have the file open already, which we are doing. All right, let's remove or comment our little data thing here. So reading the CSV file, I guess this is going to read the CSV file and it's going to store it right here inside of this variable. And then this is going to display the contents of the CSV file. It looks like it's going to go line by line. All right. So let's go ahead and change this print to print from, or completely remove this print since we're already printing the lines right here. All right. And it looks like we can maybe move our close up a little bit. So let's go ahead and put it right here because it looks like all of the data is being read in right here. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. Value IO operation on closed file. All right. What's going on here? What chaos is this? What do you mean closed? It doesn't like that we closed it right here. So apparently this operation needs a live file that is opened. All right. So let's move our close back down. So there is one of those file IO errors I was trying to get for the longest time. Not the one I wanted, but it's one of them. So let's rerun this and look at that. Look closely. Look closely with your special eyes. CSV reader knows by default it's going to be looking for commas, and each entry point is going to be on a new comma line. I see. Can you quickly explain line 84 and 85? Yes, when we go back. Give me a second real quick first. The CSV reader knows that you're going to have commas in your lines. So it's a little helpful tool. By default, it's going to automatically remove those commas and put everything into lists and have them as separated comma items. All right, so we can print each line. We only have one line. If we wanted to see it with two lines, we could just add some fake data, comma, score of 100. All right, we did really good that game. And if we rerun this program, you'll see we get two printouts here. All right, we don't have to run this for loop. We could just print CSV file. All right, so let's just go ahead and print the CSV file. And if we see that, we're going to get this object thing. All right, to make it into a list, is there a to list thing? No, we can just cast it into a list. So let's go ahead and cast it into a list. List. Will that work? Yes, it does. All right, so we forced it to become a list, and now it has become a list. All right, and all this list has is it's a list of lists. All right, remember we were doing a for loop and we were getting lists. So effectively the format of the CSV reader, when we read it in, it does some really nice things for us out of the gate. It parses all of the data. What does parse mean? It takes data with certain formatting and it will read it in, also known as ingesting. It will ingest that data, all right, and then it will parse it. What does parsing mean? It means it's going to see there's commas. It's going to remove the commas and move the data around so it's in a nice way we can use it directly in our programming language. All right. In this case, it's going to make it into a nice little list for us. So what this looks like, and we can copy this data right here and kind of, if this structure wasn't clear enough, we can paste it in here and kind of see what the structure is. We have one big parent list with a bunch of children lists. If we look at our file, so if you guys also don't know, you can take one of these tabs and throw it off to the side so you can have two files open at the same time. So if we look here, we have one giant list. There will be one giant list for the entire file. And on inside of that will be more lists. There will be one list for every single line. And anything with a comma in it is going to be separated out to different items in a list. All right? So if we wanted to, let me comment this out. If we wanted to, for example, let me see. I'm going to make the CSV file that we casted into a list be called the CSV list equals that. So this print below will be a little bit more clear. I'm going to rerun this just so we can see that it's printing exactly the same. All I did was make a variable that's holding the listified or list casted CSV file. All right, we're calling it CSV list. So this has our list of lists. Now remember, we can navigate through lists using our brackets. So there's multiple dimensions to this list. There's what line we want to go to, and then after that is what data we want to read on each line, right? So if we want to read the first line, then we must put something in this first value here. We start counting at 0. So remember, we're going to put 0 in here. Let's go ahead and save this. Will it even work if I do? Yeah, okay, I'm just keep it like that. We'll go ahead and save it and rerun it. This is now getting, add another space so it's a little further away. This is now getting the first item right here. All right, in the first item in this list, in this parent list. All right, we got the child list. Now, if we want to get a certain item in the child list here, let's say Bob. Bob's the first item in that child list. So we add another bracket at the end. Remember, you can have unlimited brackets. All right, unlimited brackets after each other. So this next one is going to be getting the first item in the child list that we got right here. So if we rerun this, we're going to get Bob. So we're going to the first item here, and then next we're going to the first item in this list, which is Bob. All right, so this is a way we can read the scores. So the second item here is what? The second item here is our score. So if we say a 1 right here and rerun this, you're going to see we're going to get Bob and we're going to get 30. We can mess with this. We can do things with this. Why are we talking about this? I thought we were going to talk about exploits. Yes, this all goes into the exploit. Don't worry. So for exploiting this, if we made it so this logic is how we go about printing things. The first item is going to be the name. The second item is going to be the score. That's very reasonable. That is normal. This is how we can extract that and print it out. What does this have to do with the exploit? What is this exploit? Why do you keep talking about this exploit? How did I introduce this exploit? Again, you introduced it because you didn't filter the data. You never ever trust them. They are just dirty little creatures, those users. Don't trust them, right? They are the worst things in the world. This name has no filtering. This game can be hacked. All right, exploited, hacked, whatever buzzword you want to use. It's compromisable. How do we do that? How do we compromise it? Well, if we play the game, and remember, hacking it. So we're not going to win the game. At least in this exploit, we don't need to win the game. We're just going to press Z, so we lose. Once we automatically lose, guess what? We know the game is saving stuff in CSV format. So as a hacker, let's say this code wasn't open source, so people couldn't view your code. As a hacker, if I see that your save files are a CSV file, I may want to try this. Try what? Well, we know if you use commas in your CSV and you're getting the first value and the second value, then as long as I put a comma in my name, I can also set my own custom score. So I can say right here for my name, it's going to be Elijah, comma. Yeah! Give me that high score! That. And if we press enter, it works. It takes it. If we go to the save file, uh-oh, looky here. It errored out, like it did this weird thing because of how we entered the fake data before. All right. What happened here? Well, first let's try to read this in with our what do you call it? Our other program here for our score reader. All right. For our score reader, let's put this back into a for loop so we automatically see all of the scores in the file. So we don't have to sit here changing these little values all the time. So let's do a for loop. So for line in CSV list, right? For every single line in the CSV list. So we're going to get each line at a time, which is going to eliminate the need for us to put that first bracketed item, right? We don't need that anymore. So we're just going to print the name and the score, the name and the score. If we press run, you're going to see we get the name and we get the score. This is printing twice. Not sure why, don't really care. The point is, look here. Wait a second. I do kind of care. It's kind of messing up our formatting. For line in CSV list. Should get less line. Does this thing just bug out? What the hell is this shit? What does CSV list look like by itself? Oh, wait. My bad. We don't want CSV list, we want line. My bad. We want line. Forgot my variable there. If we look here, we can see Bob and we can see -30. And now we can see Elijah with this massive, impossible score. We've been pwned. We've been hacked. Our things have been compromised, have been ruined. All right? Why? Why were you hacked? Because you were being too lazy of a dev. Not just too lazy, you were being stupid. Don't be stupid. Colleges will not show you this. They will not teach you this. This is literally not in most colleges' curriculum. It's never been in any college curriculum that I've ever seen myself or any of our staff or research members have ever been exposed to, periodly. Colleges historically will never teach you cybersecurity. Why do companies keep getting hacked? Because colleges do not teach historically cybersecurity. They do not teach people how to exploit things and how to fix your exploits. They just tell you, don't do exploity things. Don't get exploited. All right, we're going to show you how to hack yourself. This is a way you can hack yourself. You can be lazy as a programmer. That's okay. But the rule, the big rule, again, I'm going to say it a fucking again. All right, I am so serious with this. This is vitally important, all right, for wherever you work. If you work for me, you better, for the love of God, sanitize all of your inputs. Sanitize your inputs. Sanitize your inputs. Again, sanitize them. You will not be certified. You will not get our cert if your program is majorly exploitable this way. All right, you will not get your cert. We will not ever recommend someone to any job if they can't get our cert because they had exploitable software. All right, that is a big no-no. Our partner companies expect you to be above the rest, better than anyone else. So don't build exploitable software. How do we fix this? It's very easy. It's very, very easy. All right, it's very, very easy. We want a name. What is a name supposed to be? Alphabetical characters. We've seen this before. We've done this filtering before. We just want alphabetical characters. We've seen in our code before, we have stuff we can steal. All right? This right here will tell us whether it's alphabetical characters or not. Commas are not alphabetical characters. All right? So we can just use this. At the end of a string, any type of string or variable that is a string, we can do dot is alpha. All right? That will tell us whether something true or false is alphabetical or not. All right? So we'll have a very punishing functionality right now. All right? We're not going to even reward. We're just going to screw people over. Even if they fat fingered right now, we're just going to screw them over. All right? Maybe we'll fix it later on, but let's just get the basic functionality going on where you either entered your name right or you didn't. All we need to do is add a simple if statement at the end of this. If the name dot is what do you want? Is alpha. This will tell us true or false if it's alphabetical or not. So if it's true, that means it is only alphabetical, and that's what we want. All right, that's what we want. So in our if statement here, we want to do some logic for if they didn't give us what we wanted. All right, we want to avoid the exploitation. So let's reverse that and do a not. If it's not alphabetical, let's do some logic here. To test this first, let's just do a print statement here and say, you gave me bad input. All right, you gave me bad input. We're not stopping the exploit right now. We're just going to see if our logic checks out and works. So let's go ahead and run this again and type Z and type Z. All right, we need to give it bad input. Let's just do a comma and nothing else. All right, looks like it worked. It says we gave it bad input. All right, so we're successfully detecting bad input in here. So what can we do? Right here, we can tell users they gave us bad input, and to protect the game, we have a couple ways we can go about not running this logic here below. We could keep it safe in an else statement. All right, we could do that. That is one way to go about it. You could also go about it by saying exit right here, completely exiting the game. You could also go about it by putting this in a while loop. So you keep asking, this in a while loop. So you keep asking them for a brand new name until they enter the correct input. That would probably be the best way to go about it. There's also one more way that you can do this. Our game is in the main function. Anytime, so right here you can see the main function. That's why everything is tabbed up right now. Since we are in a function, we have the capability of doing return. So we could just type in return and also just do that. That will end the game immediately also. It would be pretty much the equivalent of us saying exit. All right, there's a bunch of ways we can go about handling this. All right, the nicest way would definitely be a while loop. So let's just go ahead and do that. We know we want to keep looping forever until their name is alpha. So that's our while loop. While name is not alpha. While name is not alpha. That is our loop. So we're going to go ahead right here to the beginning of where we want to start our loop. While name dot is so while name is while not name dot is alpha. Keep looping. All right, so we want to keep looping forever while the name is not alpha, while it's not alphabetical. So let's go ahead and tab this stuff right here up. We don't need our if statement here anymore. Well, maybe we should have our if statement. We'll keep our if statement. We can remove this print name because we don't need to see their name anymore. We can just check the CSV file. So while their name is not alphabetical. So remember, we're going to get an error right here. Right? Why are we going to get an error right here? Can any of you guys guess? Before Destroyer 8485. is it, you mean these lines right here? Because I did forget to answer your question, so my bad. So please re-ask your question with the whatever the new lines are for what you were asking about. So for a while loop, we're going to keep going for forever. While name is not alpha. We're going to get an error right now, though. What error are we going to get? You'll see. If you forgot, this is a common thing for beginners to forget. Don't worry, it's fine. You just run it, get the error, fix it. All right. So if we type in Z again, we're going to see that we get an unbound local error. Kind of a new phrasing, might throw you off, but read the whole thing. All right. You can see right here where it's pointing. It has an issue with name. It says cannot access local variable. Remember, there's global and local variables. All right. Local variables are going to be ones that are made in a function. We're in a function now. So that's why it's saying this. So our variable name, it's not happy, where it is not associated with a value. It says name isn't associated with value. It doesn't know what name is, why it exists, why it's even there. Why is that? We're using name. Well, we are using name. But remember, we're making name after we're already trying to use it. So remember, you got to sometimes predefine some of your variables. So right here we can say name is equal to, and will that work? I don't know. We'll see. So an empty string, I don't know if that will flag as alpha or not. So let's go ahead and just test it and see. All right. But the point is we got to predefine our variables sometimes in Python. In other languages, you always have to like predefine them. I believe the lines are 87. Oh, these ones right here. Great question. I'll go over this if statement at the end. We talked about it yesterday in our episode, our functions episode. Was that yesterday? Whatever our functions lesson was. We talked about it briefly, and we'll talk about it more specifically when we get into importing. I'll go over it again here in a second. So let's run this and let's see if this will work. So let's do Z. Let's do Z. We gotta enter in, let's enter in a comma. Well, it looks like it's working. We didn't get an error, and we're right now having to enter in our name. So it looks like that will work. Let's do a comma and see if we'll be exploited or not. No. It's asking us to enter in our name again. And it says we entered in bad input. So let's enter in a proper name, Bob. And our game ends. And if we check our saved here, we can see Bob is added to our file here. All right, not in the correct way, but it's added to our file. I'll show you guys how to fix this in a second. We have avoided our exploit. It wasn't that hard. It was really easy. We stole some code. We had to make a while loop. Bada bing, bada boom. From a devastating, game-breaking exploit to successful code in just like what, 3 lines extra, because we made the while loop, we made this if statement for a nice little printing, technically 4 with this line. All right, it's very easy to avoid most exploits. There's some very complex ones. This also brings into my point about open source software. Any idiot that tells you that open source software is more trustworthy is an idiot. All right? Open source software does not make it more trustworthy. It just means that it has the potential to be peer reviewed. You just made a repo on GitHub. Your software that you made, this game that we have right now, is open source. It's as open source as everything else is. It can't get more open source than this. You could make this game with exploits in it. You could add it here to the repo. People could play your game. It will still have bugs and exploits. It doesn't make it better. Open source software is usually worse when it comes to exploits, because guess what? If no one figured out you had the exploit when they play the game, you didn't figure it out, but I actually looked at your code, I'm a malicious user. I can see your code, because typically code, when you make a game, you're going to compile it or give it in a binary state, which is going to be obfuscated compared to when you normally look at the code. When you normally look at the code, you know, you get these pretty little lines here, right? What we got right now. It looks very, very easy to look through. When you have to look through compiled code, it's a lot more complicated, all right? That's a whole rabbit hole in itself. Open source code is not compiled. It's very easily and plainly viewable, and at times comes full of comments. You can look through and find very sensitive areas for very sensitive programs and try to look for bugs, for exploits, and exploit those applications, all right? Just because it's open source does not mean it's good. It does not mean it's safe. It does not mean, it doesn't add anything to it. It just means it has the potential to be peer reviewed, right? Potential. There's a lot of code in the Linux kernel. There is a lot of code. Linux kernel is heavily looked at and heavily contributed. There's only so much you can do with the code base that's that large. Anyone can look at the Linux kernel. Anyone can potentially find a bug in it because it's not compiled, and anyone can then build an exploit for it. All right, it's happened before, it's going to happen again. There's most likely multiple active exploits for the Linux kernel right now. There's no way to stop it when you have things open source. So do not deceive yourself in thinking that anything that's open source is safe. You need to do your due diligence. Trust, but verify. Also, this is why it's important to donate to people that are open sourcing their information, their technology. They're not making money on it, usually directly. They're usually making money off of it, off of classes, discussions, etc., etc., etc. Sometimes licensing, depending on their open source license. It's important for you to donate because usually with that money, it's going to pay for the devs to do their job, but usually they'll also be able to then potentially pay for auditing. What does auditing mean? Peer reviewing, paid peer reviewing. Someone will come through and look at the code and review it and make sure there's no exploits or bugs. Also, if you use a repo a lot, it'd be great if you did some peer reviewing yourself. You don't need to review the whole thing, just a couple files here and there. You did your due diligence. It's like an ant colony. Everyone's a little ant looking at this massive repo. You just do a little bit and let everyone else kind of check in, chime in. The point of open source tech is it's supposed to be community based. We're supposed to be together. We're supposed to be a community. We help each other. You know, we're not making a bunch of competing projects. Competition is healthy, but we're not making 100 competing projects. We're getting behind and rallying behind maybe 2, 3, 4 competing ones, but you can't just say you support it and use it. You need to go the next step further, all right? So you should be doing that. Do your due diligence. That's important to the integrity of the open source community, and is the only way it's going to be in any state of trustworthy. All right. Any questions on that? I know Destroyer, I gotta answer your stuff. Kamal, we save it on our dev. Yep. All saves. Everything must be done on your dev branch and other branches. Nothing should ever be done on your main branch. You should only be performing merges or pull requests into the main branch. Can I scroll up? Yeah, let me just make it a little bit smaller and scroll up. Is that good, Kamal? Also, it's a great thing you bring it up. We've made changes, so we need to do a commit. We need to officially save. So in our save file here, it's green. We don't want our saved information being pushed to GitHub. So let's go to our git ignore and let's go ahead and do save. All right, let's go ahead and do saved in here so we don't auto push up this save file when we do our asterisks. All right, so let's go ahead and bring up our terminal. Let's say git add all. That is not an all. Let's git add all. Git commit. Leave a little message. Added the ability to save what do you call it? Save scores. There we go. Save scores. And remember, we got to push our changes to the remote server. So we're going to do a git push. All right, we're going to do a git push. Perfect. Now, we talked a lot about security. It's very important. We're one of the best certs in the world because of how much we pressure on security. You can have your code in insecure format. That's okay. Leave notes to yourself. Leave comments. Particularly, there's a special type of comment called a to-do. It's literally called to-do. All right? You're going to see it's going to change into a completely different color. Let me go and zoom in a little bit on it. When you leave a comment in VS Code, maybe a little bit too much zoom in. Let me go and make another comment. Look, it's green right now, and when I finish it, it changes color. All right? When you do a to-do in your comment, that's you leaving a little statement saying this needs to be done. It hasn't been accomplished yet. All right? The security thing doesn't matter too much until it's merged into main. You can leave your code in an insecure state. You can make insecure code and still get committed to the dev branch. That's okay. Make sure you go back and fix or finish what you were doing and make it secure before it goes to main. That's the big thing. You don't want to send your code out to the public. You don't want it to have be publicly like accessible to the world and marked as like good code when it's in a vulnerable state. All right. So if you know you have input, for example, this is in a vulnerable state right now. We haven't fixed this. We have not fixed this yet. So we should definitely do a hashtag to do, and let's say need to add filtering to our file reading. All right. We can leave a little to do here. Now, what is the use of this? Now it's easy for you to potentially look through code and find the to-dos that need to be done. All right. That's kind of the older way of doing it. With VS Code, there are a lot of cool features with it. Specifically, there's a to-do feature somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Was it in the debug? Or was it one of the add-ons that I'm currently missing right now? I had like a bunch of extensions and I lost most of them. So let's go to extensions and type in, I think it was literally just called to-do. I think it's the to-do tree. So the to-do tree, let's go ahead and install that extension. When you install this, it's going to show up on the sidebar here. Mine is going to be in this additional views. Yours should be viewable there. It's going to be called to-dos. Also, if I make this smaller, you should see it's going to look like a little tree. All right, it's going to look like a little tree here. When we click on that, what it will automatically do is it will automatically go through, it will automatically go through all of our files that we have open in our VS Code session. And it will tell us everywhere we have a to-do comment in any language. All right, it's going to find those. So we can click on these. Excuse me. We can click on them quickly and it will take us to exactly where that to-do is. All right, modern technology, it's beautiful. So you can see there's some to-dos that need to be done, and then you can accomplish them. All right, so utilize these features. All right, they're gonna make your life way, way easier, so you don't have to memorize where all your to-dos are. All right, just put a comment called to-do, use a plugin like this to immediately find them. So if you ever do forget something, you can do one final pass before okaying everything in dev. You can see there's to-dos that need to be done. Do those to-dos and then merge things over to main. All right. So now that we're more security conscious, all right, we're going to, did we already push up our changes? All right, let's go ahead and do another git commit because we did add some to-do statements. So things are in unsaved state now. So let's go ahead and do another git commit, add git all. and then git commit. Added to do for file ingest. I don't even know how to spell ingest. I think I usually spell like this. I don't know if that's right or not, but I don't care. It looks correct. Ingest filtering. We'll save and do a git push. All right, do a git push. There we go. Now we're good. We're not going to, now that we're security conscious, we don't want to give this to our customer. The game works fine. They're not having an issue with it. But we know we made an oopsie. We added a vulnerability. Now, it would be best if you disclosed it to the customer, all right? Don't hide these discoveries from your customer. You want to be transparent with them, all right? But also follow it up with pretty much like, hey, we have a fix for it right now. Just update your systems immediately. It would be a worst case scenario if you're like, hey, we found a vulnerability. We're still working on it. Maybe a day. Like, your customer ain't going to be very happy. All right. If you're going to disclose something, make sure that you have the fix pretty much ready to go. All right. So we're not going to merge this one to main. We're not going to release it. Even though we added our super cool feature here, we're not going to release it to main because we still have a bug here that we need to fix before releasing it. So we'll do that starting tomorrow. All right. We'll fix that bug. We'll release this code and we'll be golden. All right. Any other questions we got? Any other questions we got? Kamal, do you need me to, did you want to see this? Sorry. All right. So tomorrow, what are we doing? What are we doing? Great question. Tomorrow, I think we're going to we're gonna go over classes. All right. We're gonna go over classes. Classes are going to be the last confusing subject. They're going to be the last confusing subject we have to go over. All right. Everything else from this point on is just going to be learning new functions and like the cool things they let us do, and programming and making more and more tools and games and stuff. All right. Classes are the last big concept we're going to be learning. All right. It's one of the most challenging for most people. Not because it's large and complicated. It's actually fairly simple. It's just a little weird. It just sometimes doesn't click or make sense until it does. And we're going to try our hardest tomorrow to give lots and different examples to try to make it click and make sense to you. All right? That's the most important thing for programming in the modern age, because most modern languages are object-oriented. We've been programming primarily in a normal procedural programming manner or functional programming manner. This, how we've been programming so far, is pretty much exactly how you would program in a non-object-oriented language like C or Go. Go is not object-oriented, right? Yeah, it's not. Golang or Rust, right? In lower level languages, this is exactly how you would go about programming. There's a massive feature. We have technically kind of been using it already, but we're definitely going to be going balls to the fucking wall when we get to classes, all right? We're going to be actually going into object-oriented programming, and we're going to be truly using Python to the fullest of its ability, all right? Let's see if there's any. I'm guessing, Kamal, you're good. I did that in Java, and it was the hardest part to understand, to be honest. Yes, it can be. It can definitely be the hard. It took myself, probably a year. Again, this was me teaching myself back in junior high. It took maybe a year for me to actually understand it, because I was reading books. Not really like super thoroughly. Mostly I was just trying to find the things that I needed in order to make my programs that I was trying to make. But it took about a year of me seeing it, rereading it, seeing it again, rereading it, seeing it again, rereading it. From like, this wasn't obviously like right after each other. It was like one day in a month, and then it would be like 5 months later I would see it like for another day or watch another video on like trying to explain it, and then it'd be a couple. But in general, it took me like a month before it actually like clicked. It's that click that needs to happen. Till it clicked and made sense. All right, that's why we say it usually takes people about 6 months on average to get our cert. Not because it takes that long, because it's that hard. No, it's just average. Some people, this stuff will click and make more sense to you immediately. All right, that's just how some people are. I'm not one of those. I'm very, very slow. All right, so if you're like me, it's going to take you a little bit longer. It's going to take you maybe 6 months or longer to get a lot of this stuff to click. All right, that's fine. The big thing is just to keep doing it, to keep going at it. All right, still 3 months, 6 months, a lot faster than wasting 4 years and $100,000+ of your moolah, or going into debt and being a slave to your debtors. All right, no one wants to be a slave. It was abolished for a reason. It's a fucking cruel thing. All right, don't do it to yourself. Def not that person. For the fast, being fast. Come on, don't leave me in the dark. You guys have been learning these concepts very, very fast. So I'm very, very impressed with all of you guys. Functions were, I guess, kind of the first time. I think some of you guys might have been a little confused or tripped up. Maybe some of it was me. All right. I'm going to say most of it was just you. All right. Because I'm perfect. All right. No, classes we're going to spend all tomorrow on. And then, depending on how you guys are doing, we can potentially spend another entire day on it. All right, it's very important. We gotta get it. We gotta get it. It's one of the most important things before we move forward anymore. All right. Can you go over those lines, please? Okay, yes, these last ones. Thank you for reminding me. So these last ones, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. We're going to really show and express this in a couple, in maybe like a week or so, maybe less than that. Whenever we go over importing and making our own imports, like this, instead of us importing whatever this code is, like we're going to have our own custom imports of code that we made ourselves. When we do that, it will make a little bit more sense. But right now, effectively, what it is doing is it's just an if statement that's most importantly at the root part of our file, which means this will execute when we run our file. Unlike our code here, none of this code will execute when we run this file because it's in a function. All right, so this function is just being created for the first time. All right, it's a blueprint. All right, it doesn't actually get executed. In this if statement, there's some logic going on here that's kind of confusing. But if this if statement is true, then our main function is going to run. With that knowledge, we can perform inference. What does inference mean? Inferring what's going on. We know when we press our play button and run this, our game runs. All right, our game is running, right? When we run this. So that means this if statement must be true. We can infer that this if statement is true, right? Because our game is running, which means this right here on line 90, this function is running because this is our main function for our game. It is running. So right now, I guess we're in some type of main state. So what is going on? Still kind of confused. I guess we're equaling the string and it's true right now, but why? Great question. Python, there is a concept in some languages of hidden variables or secret variables, basically variables that other people can't see. They're hidden away. Python doesn't have that. It's impossible to hide variables in Python. It's all public. All right. No matter what you read online or what some people might claim, it's all 100% public. And we'll see that when we get into classes and we go down that journey. All variables are public. So to make secret or private variables, you can use an underscore, all right, a single underscore. Default variables for the language itself, so things that are happening behind the scenes in the language, will have double underscores, all right? They'll be doubly underscore, and usually on both sides. So what is name? What is underscore name? Great question. That's a default variable made in the Python language. All right, it's a part of the language. It's, even though you don't see it, it exists. It's there. All right, just like we said about like atoms and stuff in your cells, just because you don't see what's going on doesn't mean they're there. They're not there unless you live in conspiracy land. But guess what? They're there in programming. All right, they exist. So this, depending on where you run your program, or if you're importing a file, aka we're importing this random file. So this is actually tied to a file called random. If you import it, the name will be different. This name, this underscore main, will be different than when you run it on the command line. It's basically a way to figure out whether you're running stuff on a command line or whether you're importing a file. Depending on how that's happening, this will stop your application from running. Because what you'll see is when we go into importing, when we import our program, if we're not potentially doing this, it will auto execute our program and it will give some undesired results. All right, undesired results. I'm gonna go ahead and call that there. If that didn't make very much sense, don't worry. We're gonna go over it when we go over how to make your own custom libraries and import stuff. Additionally, you guys, I'm not gonna stop you. You guys are free to go over to Google and like go search that, and you can go see like what the definitions in here. You can go over to Free Code Camp and see the definitions there. You can also see there's definitely going to be YouTube videos, and you can see their explanations there. You can obviously learn this stuff ahead, and there's no reason for you to keep yourself tied to me. That's also why whenever you do a dot at the end of any of your variables, and at the end, you're going to always see these doubly underscored items here. Right? Why are these here? Because they're special variables that are done by the language itself and will be pretty much attached to almost everything that is of that same variable type. Also, like I said, there's this concept of private variables, but they're not actually private, right? It's kind of like me like being like, hey, this thing I got right here, this is private. I know it's right here, but please just don't look at it. Don't look at it, please. That's basically the concept of privacy in Python. All right. This right here, checked close. If you have one single underscore, that's going to be a private variable. All right. As you can see, we can see it. It's not private. It's very visible. The underscore means pretty much like, please don't look at it. Don't mess with it. All right. Don't do it, please. We'll understand that more when we get to the object-oriented section. All right, we good? Let's see. When we try to switch it to dev branch, all changes will lose if committed before. Kind of question. Can you can you paste the code in Discord? Yes. So if you want the code we went over, it will be available to all of our supporters. So if you are a Patreon member or a Discord Premium member, how do you get access to that? Discord server subscription to get for the Discord Premium. And if you're a Patreon member, so Discord Premium members will get access to the supporter chat at every tier. If you go over to README, there's links for our Patreon here. The bit tier, the lowest tier, will not get access to the supporter chat or in Patreon, right? The lowest tier in Patreon will not get access to the supporter chat. But inside of the supporter chat, all of the code will be dropped and there will be documentation, all right? there will be documentation. So if you want a copy of everything I did here with a bunch of documentation, you can become a Patreon member or Discord premium member. All right. And if you don't want to do that, guess what? All these are recorded on YouTube, so you can scroll back the video and take a look at the code and then retype it. What should we do if we made all the edits and changes on the med branch? So if you did your changes on the main branch, again, stop doing that. All right? Stop it. No. Bad. Just commit it and then merge your changes into dev. Merge all your changes into dev. All right? And then just stay on the dev branch and keep deving. All right? It doesn't really matter too much right now. All right? This isn't a production environment, so you can make oopsies like that. All right? It's fine. All right? Just go back over to the dev branch, bring in your changes, all right? Merge your changes from main into dev, and then continue forward. You can do the merge with the git merge command, or you can do a pull request on GitHub, all right? Instead of merging the dev branch into the main branch, you're going to be merging the main branch into the dev branch, all right? All right, let's see here. I know more than I did before, though, so that's something. Have to troubleshoot so many issues. Is still teaching me something, I suppose. No, lots of issues are normal. Lots of issues are normal, all right? I'm not really getting issues because I'm kind of avoiding them, and the ones that we do hit, for the most part, all right, for the most part, there have been a couple that I definitely messed up, but for the most part, just because I know what I'm doing, we're avoiding most of the issues. But some of the issues I am causing on purpose because they are very common pitfalls. All right, they're ones that I've seen a lot of people get messed up on, and then also I've personally been, especially when I was learning, very much messed up on. All right, so if you're getting more errors, that's fine. That should be expected. All right, they should be scarring and painful for you. All right, if they are scarring and painful and giving you cancer, that's good. All right, they're mentally scarring you. All right, damage is good. All right, no matter what anyone else says, you know, oh, mean to make everyone feel safe zones, blah blah blah. No, you need damage while you're programming. You need to be mentally scarred because those scars will permanently engrave in your head the right way to do something. All right, so if you are getting damaged right now, when you finally get success, you're going to get that cocaine dopamine rush, all right, that keeps you coming back to programming. But also, you're going to know definitely a way not to do something and what to avoid. It's going to be permanently engraved in your head, and that's how you avoid a lot of issues moving forward with programming, all right? That's what separates a lot of junior to mid-tier devs is that scarring. Once you get all that scarring, then you're a mid-tier dev because you'll naturally, you're still like learning things, but you'll naturally avoid all the default like pitfalls. And if you do run across an error, you'll typically be able to figure it out. All right. If you can pretty much do that yourself, then you might be closer to mid-tier or at mid-tier. All right. All right, any other questions? Any other questions? So we'll go ahead. I don't see any other questions coming in. Remember, we got the 100 days of Rootkit chat. Oh, I did put this in 100 days of Rootkit. We got the 100 days of Rootkit chat. If you do have any questions, if you're having issues, if you're having problems, or you want to show off any improvements that you've made to any of the code, that you rewrote the guessing game from scratch by yourself, you know, anything at all, post it in here. Show things off or ask for help, and everything is on the table. So make sure you use it. All right, it's open, it's free, it's there, available for everyone to use. All right, that's all I got for you guys. So I will see you guys tomorrow on the next one.